And we are live coming to you from the heartland of America, from my heart to yours. Hopefully, I'm Jeffey Daugherty. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel, home of the Unindoctrinator podcast. And I was just sitting here thinking about, and I think we mentioned this when I was talking with James Dwayne McLean the other night, that back in Lake Tahoe when we played hockey and we were the renegade team and we picked the last players and we kept winning, and everybody hated us, and they hated me kind of particularly because I put the team together and I was this old goalie and I was playing out of my mind. Nobody could beat me. They hated us. They talked about us, but I noticed that they watched us. They'd be out there, they'd just finish their game, they'd hang around, they'd watch us. They'd come out of the players area in their uniforms and they'd watch us. They hated us, but they watched us. And that's the greatest sign of respect. And that's how I feel today, because I know the guys and the girls that hate me, they still watch me. They talk about it, they say it, they send me things. They still watch me. And it feels good because I really am still playing out of my mind. As far as this goes, I'm in my prime and we are ready to rock and roll. Tracy Dyer with a great quote, and I can't remember exactly what she said. I wrote down, start the show with Tracy Dyer's great quote. Let me go into the chat. I think what she said was, so when Jebus is saying and talking about the Father, he's not talking about source. He's not talking about creator. He's talking about the leader of their particular faction, the head of their particular faction. He's not talking about source. He's not talking about the creator at all. And we're going back to part 2 of Bible, Black Magic, and You. And we were taking off and starting off with the Lairds. We don't say that word, the L-RDS prayer. Powerful stuff. Just a quick run through, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about the Lord's Prayer. Let me get up here where I can make this one work. So many screens, so little time. But we talked about our Father, which art in heaven. It's a dual verse. It's a spell. It's an incantation. It's all supposed to be that way. Only half the Gospels have it. It's about how to P-R-A-Y for the acolytes, and it's about how to P-R-E-Y for the adepts. It's for sheep and those in sheep's clothing. We talked about how the numerology of it is very, very interesting. The numbers of it is very, very interesting. And how our Father is the same word pater as prater minus the R. The R is 666, the beast. Christians, the Father you pray to is the beast 666. And the Father you pray to, the Father that Jebus talked about, is not source, not creator, but just the head of their magical hierarchy. It says right here, because who you're actually praying to is Oranos, the god Oranos. It says that right in the original Greek. So it was so fun for me to say, Christians, when you pray according to the Bible, you are praying to your anus. You're praying to Uranus. And folks, I'm telling you, the Romans are laughing hysterically because the imagery is that people that actually believe this Bible and worship like it says to worship have their heads up their asses. And it's meant to be that way. Joe Atwell told you that. I'm telling you that as I expand on Joe's work. They're laughing at you. It's dark humor. Dark humor. If you believe the Bible, if you believe the Jebus story, you got your head in your anus. Literally. And as Tracy Dyer says, we've been the butt of the joke. And Kim Randall, bunghole boost spell. Yeah. Then there's that. But the reason you see us talking about going into Jupiter and going into Saturn, where do you see this, folks? Jupiter. How did I get to this? How did we get to Jupiter? Okay, only Saturn and Uranus have rings. And here we go. Here's how we got to this. The name of Uranus, He's the father of Kronos or Saturn, and he's the grandfather of Jupiter or Zeus. So that brings us to this place right here. So if he's intimately related to both of those, I don't want to get lost in what the particular relationship is. What is it? Grandfather? What is it? Father of Saturn, father of Kronos, grandfather of Jupiter. Okay, so you guys remember that. And Jupiter, intimately related to Jupiter, the god of the sky, the god of thunder, the king of gods in the ancient Roman religion and mythology. It just shows you Joseph Atwell's right. Jeffey Daugherty's right. The Romans did write the New Testament, and they wrote it to have you worship their God. They made their God your pater, P-A-T-E-R. And the fact that you haven't figured this out allows them to laugh at you because you got your head stuck in Uranus. Jupiter was the chief deity of the Roman state religion. Jupiter was the chief deity of the Roman state religion. And is there any craziness? Is there any surprise they're telling you when you pray to Jupiter? And he was the chief deity until guess what? Christianity became the dominant religion of the empire. How do you change your religion, boys and girls? How do you change your religion, ladies and gentlemen? How do you change your religion without changing your religion? You've been worshiping Zeus. You've been worshiping Jupiter. You've been worshiping Uranus. How do you stop worshiping them and keep worshiping them? Call them Father. So all of you people out there, and I'm trying to be empathetic instead of, but it's hard for me. I got to work on it. All of you people out there that think that you're hearing from the Father, you're hearing from Uranus. All of you out there that are praying to the Father, you're praying to Uranus. All of you out there, you get it. You understand it. How long will you keep doing it? Say hello to the new God. Same as the old God. Literally, can't you see what they did? They changed religions without changing religions. They gave the appearance of changing religions without changing religions. And we bought it. And remember, I bought it for 20 years. I worked for them. Wow. Amazing stuff. Jupiter is an aerial god. His identifying implement is the thunderbolt. Check this out. Thunderbolt. The sacred animal is the eagle. One of the most common symbols of the Roman army. The two emblems were often combined to represent God in the form of an eagle holding its claws, thunderbolts. Look at the picture, ladies and gentlemen. What is that eagle? Proud Roman eagle. He's holding in his talons what? Arrows. What are those bad boys? Thunderbolts. Because you know those are nuclear-tipped arrows. And they're self-powered projectiles he's holding in his talons. The modern equivalent of some thunderbolts. They are telling you, don't get with the Enlil inky shit. You got to unlearn that bullshit. I'm sorry, I got triggered a little bit. You got to get past that. Enlil inky, it's just another story. The eagle is Rome. The eagle is the USA. And it's the same God as it used to be. Doing the same stuff. Open your eyes. Don't get lost in the details. Don't get lost in the distractions. And I mean to snap at you, Mandy. I got triggered, but you know what I'm saying. Don't get lost in these distractions, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, but the first segment is being brought to us by our great friends at Mystech. It is jewelry that is charged to the original Schumann resonance of the earth. It will keep you at that Schumann resonance. It will keep your blood flowing very smoothly, which keeps, remember, your area, your territory, your host body working good, so you don't get any of these creepy crawlies to slow you down. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Mystech logo, click on the Mystech tab, and you get a full 20% off. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate it. I really do, because I didn't mean to snap. I literally got triggered. I got triggered, and I'm big enough to admit it, but you know where I'm coming from. And we could spend time just on this, Rome and this. Wow. But it's an eagle symbolized with thunderbolts in his talons. Oh, you don't get this anywhere else, ladies and gentlemen. You do not get this anywhere else. We have a surge in subscriptions right now. I can see why. Man, this is good. This is so good, I subscribe to it. But even if I wasn't me, I would subscribe, because it's really, really good stuff. And it's hopeful stuff. It's empowering stuff. Watch the Dr. Robert O. Young video we just did with Ian. It'll give you hope. It'll give you tools instead of fear. Boom. Jupiter. We're still talking about Jupiter. And I noticed, you want to talk about tie-ins with Jebus? Look at that. An I. Remember, it can't be Jebus because there was no J until the 17th century. It couldn't be Jupiter because there was no J. So just like the Jebus, their big main god, boom, it's an I. So it's just another tie-in to Jebus, another tie-in. These things aren't accidental, ladies and gentlemen. And Jupiter, to the Babylonians, he was called Marduk. Guess what Marduk did? They sacrificed children to Marduk, just like Christians are still in that business. And the ancient Greeks knew the planet as Phaethon, meaning the shining one. Who's the shining one? The morning star. Boom. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Boys and girls, cousins of all ages. Let's move on to Saturn. Doesn't that look like Saturn's got an anus? I'm just saying. We'll get into that. Saturn, and this is so, you guys, you got to see this. You got to share this. This cracks I told Cynthia when I was doing this study a couple days ago, I walked out there and said, I have busted open. Tracy's like a gun. I've busted open the whole matrix, and we have. Saturn was especially celebrated during the festival of Saturnalia each December, the most famous of the Roman festivals, a time of feasting, role reversals, gift giving, and revelry. Guess what it is right now? No Despair Bears. It looks like a small hat. It's an ass hat. But anyway, Tracy says crack. It's got a crack too. But let's, Saturnalia. You know what that is? Christmas. What is the identifying celebration of Christianity? Christmas. I don't care if you're Roman Catholic or Roman Protestant. You're all about Christmas. Xmas. It's Saturn. Saturnalia. I knew that back when I was one of those. That's one of the reasons I stopped being one of those. But some of you still don't want to accept it. And interestingly enough, as they're trying to keep us in a fear and guilt control matrix, can we break this down just a little bit, especially in relation? We're getting there, Tracy, especially in relation to what Dr. Young had to say today. Real doctor, multiple PhDs, actually an MD, not like this half-baked idiot that's scaring everybody on YouTube and dumbasses won't quit putting his ugly face on their channel. I would punch him. I'd give him a chance to run, but I'd punch if he stood. I would. I hate that guy. I have venom against him for what he's doing and how many people he's scaring. But anyway, it's a time of feasting. How are we making our bodies prime places for sickness, by feasting, by eating stuff we're not supposed to eat, by drinking stuff we're not supposed to drink, by smoking stuff we're not supposed to smoke, by our feasting and by our lack of control, by being super obese, by feasting. He was characterized, and this festival was characterized by overeating, and we still are. This society, Western society, is still feasting, and not just in December. And role reversals. What does it say to you? Role reversals. Female role, male role, reversed. LGBTQ, transgender, transsexual, all of that, role reversal. Baphomet. Still got it going on. Giving each other gifts that keep on giving, like AIDS. That's all I'm saying. And revelry. What is revelry? That word in the Roman context specifically means sexual revelry. I'm just saying, is it still going on? And sis elaborated on this by saying that the Greek name chronos is synonymous to chronos, or time. Synonymous with chronos, or time. So this baby, not even real God, this Oranos that they're teaching you to pray to, he's involved in the game of time. And what they don't want you to know is that time, it's on our side. Yes, it is, and it is on our side, but they want us to think it's on their side. He's not the God of time. We're the gods of time, bitches. And we're taking control. As a result of Kronos's importance to the Romans, his Roman variant Saturn has had a large influence on Western culture. The seventh day of the Judeo-Christian week is called in Latin Saturni, Day of Saturn. Jews, Seventh-day Adventists, all you Yeshua, Yahashua. Is that Indian? Yahashua. Are you praying for rain, or are you calling on some God that isn't one? Saturn, Saturday, which in turn was adapted and became the English word Saturday. In astronomy, the planet Saturn is named after the Roman deity, Jupiter, Saturn, Kronos. And think of where this all came from, ladies and gentlemen. Think of where this all came from. But before we do that, let's go into the chat real quickly and let's see what everybody has to say as we move into the second segment, sort of this channel, of this particular podcast. People trying to peek in on the first podcast. You should watch the first podcast. It's very, very powerful. It's the same title, only number one. Makes me sick. I taught my kids. I know, Missy, same thing for me. Maddie, Ian has been on the show before. Ian's a great guy. He wrote the book that you should get, I Cure Cancer. It has most of Robert O. Young's work in it. If you have the money and you're able, get Robert O. Young's books, PH Miracle and Sick and Tired, and get Ian's book. If you don't have all the funds, all the info's in this book that Ian wrote called I Cure Cancer. So you can start with this one, or if you can only afford one, get this one. I'm getting them all, but that's just me. So, a God made in man's image. Yeah, boy, what a mess. What a mess. Maybe we could have more Ian on another podcast. Absolutely, we definitely will. And we had at least one, maybe two podcasts with Ian already. First time back in chat. Nice to see you back, Bridget. DeAndre, nice to see you. I appreciate those kind words. What's popping? What's this churchy stuff? Check it out, bro. You're about to find out what it is. The spiritual mafia. Boom. Ain't that true? Ain't that the truth? Absolutely. Italian religions, Roman religions. We've been the butt of their jokes. Boom. Ba-dum-bum. This is the mother of all conspiracies. And it literally is, Bridget, because this is where they all come from. This is where they all come from. Did they make him a eunuch? Ooh. How about that? Zeus castrated Kronos. That is correct. Mawson is right on the money, as he usually is. Wow. It's not news to maybe Pyle. They love it, and I'm glad. They rebranded, absolutely. They changed the names to confuse the innocent. It is very, very frightening. Don't get lost in the Inul Inky stuff. I'm telling you, don't get lost there. It's meant to confuse you. It's just another story, just another tale. Don't think it's real. It's Mother Goose. It's the Grimm's fairy tales. They're all telling stories. Saturn Day, as Tracy pointed out. Saturnalia. No, I totally disagree with you, James. I'm not even going to show that one because I don't think it's correct. The rings look like hologram type projectors. Interesting. I like it. I really like it. This is great stuff. Lots of good stuff. There is lots of debauchery. Yep, that's a good word, Jama. That's a real good word. Let's see. I missed the reference. What reference did I miss? Oh, well, every now and then I miss something because I'm a little bit busy here, in case you haven't noticed. And speaking of that, as we move into our second segment, you got to get the C60 Purple Power. You got to go to c60purplepower.com. It is the fountain of youth. It is a great antioxidant, and it helps you get your environment 10 feet tall and bulletproof. You get a 10% off when you use that code TCW10. Go to c60purplepower.com and do it today. And we got to remember where this all came from. Luke 11:1. And it came to pass, they came to him, Jebus, and they said, teach us how to pray. And then Jebus in Matthew 6 said, and when you pray, so it's a continuation, teach us how to pray. Here's how you do it. Again, double emphatic, again, mirroring, again, showing you it's a spell, it's a ritual, it's an incantation. And Jebus himself, ladies and gentlemen, Jebus himself on a hill far away stood an old Chevrolet, Jebus him. It's Jebus himself giving instructions on what is arguably the most important Christian activity. Is there any more important Christian activity than praying? Also in double emphatic, what does he tell them to do? Our Father, which art in heaven. He tells them to invoke a pater, a praetor, the Roman god Oranos, and consecrate and hallow his name, the name of Oranos, the coven leader teaching the neophytes. But then again, there's another verse that says, don't call any man Oranus or Pater while you're on earth. Do you see? The Bible has to tell you some truth, but wants to tell you error. This is the most basic action acolyte activity, becoming P-R-E-Y. P-R-A-Y-ing to give your power away, and P-R-E-Y-ing to a finger licking good, eat it up. It's the basic Christian activity for the acolytes, becoming prey, giving your power away, and the basic practice of the adepts, the secret spell of the adepts. I'm telling you guys, it's a quid pro quo world. You cannot do magic without having to pay a tax, a toll, a fee, an assessment. If it ain't your magic, you got to pay. That's why I'm telling you, if you use any spell you didn't invent, you got to pay. If you use any ritual you didn't invent, you got to pay. If you use any incantation you didn't invent, you got to pay. How many of you right now look down, have crosses around your necks? It's a sigil. You got to pay. And these poor, deluded, or knowing exactly what they're doing, taking you down individuals on YouTube that are leading you down this road need to be resisted and need to be stopped. You got to pay, and you've got to pay with your most precious tender, which is your energy, your life force. And that's what all of Christianity is. That's what the most basic thing, if you could say, what's the most basic thing in Christianity? The Lord's Prayer. It's a magical spell to take your power away and let advanced adepts eat it up. And it's a multi-level marketing right up to Oranos. Wow. And this is all right in the book. It's all right in the book. And we talked about this. It says our Father. The word doesn't mean our. The word decidedly means me, mine. We talked about that because it is emphatically male progenitor. I spelled that wrong. One advanced in years, a mentor, like Tracy just said. Is the cross the mark of the beast? Damn, girl, that's a great question. That's a great question. The word pater is what he says to pray to. Magical adepts call themselves prater or prater. They add an R, 18th letter, 666. There we go. I thought I got ahead of myself. Prater adds an R to pater. R is the 18th letter. 6 plus 6 plus 6, which also sums to 9. As above, so below. If you pray to the Father, you're praying to the beast, 666, and you've got your head so far up Uranus that you don't even know it. And they laugh at you because you have fallen deeply into your ass. You've fallen deeply into your ass. This was just some of the, I just wanted to review some of this. It's in Matthew, actually, we found 6:9. That adds to 15, which is 6, gives us the 666 imagery because you add it to this. It's 666. 6:9 could be, those go either way. 69, they go either way. It sums to 6. That's another 6, gives us a 666 imagery, which goes back to the mark of the beast, back to the prayer, back to the names. And then Luke 11:2, double master, number 11, adds to 4, sums to 4, add it to the 6 up here, you get 10, completion. It's a Greek double emphatic, a twin verse power spell, one of the strongest in the script. You can be sure. You can't find this stuff anywhere else. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Whose will? Whose as above, as so below? Prater, prater, 666, mark of the beast. The most basic instruction of the most basic Christian activity counsels you to call upon a Roman god. Specifically, it calls upon you to worship Uranus, Uranus. If you are more advanced, it calls you to conduct magic in that name. And it's quid pro quo. If you play, you got to pay. If you're going to stay, you got to play. And when you play, you got to pay. And the people that really pay are the ones that pray. And it's always, always, always a quid pro quo. Do you still think Rome didn't write this? The most basic instructions say, call on a Roman god, work in a Roman god's name. You got to pay because you're playing. And it's quid pro quo every time, baby. Let's get into some amazing shit right now. Corona, crown, chronos. How blind are we, ladies and gentlemen? Are we deaf? Are we dumb? Are we numb? Do you think they called it coronavirus just by picking a name? Do you think they threw some darts at a board full of words and it just happened to hit corona? And how many of you hear my Sharona? But anyway, the corona, which means crown, which is synonymous with and sounds a whole lot like chronos. Coronavirus, crown virus, chronos virus. Oh my God, time's running out. Not for us, for them. Remember, time is on our side. Oh, yes, it is. Remember that. But they want us to think time's running out. Corona, crown, chronos is the fear and guilt control matrix, the deep state, the dark state, taking its last shot. They want us to think time's running out, and it is, but not for us, for them. The system is dying, not us. They want us to think that we're dying. They want us to think that we're dying when they're dying. They want us to think we're out of time when they're out of time. They want us to think it's all over for us when it's all over for them. What we're seeing today, ladies and gentlemen, what we're seeing today is the fall of the corona, of the chronos, of the crown system. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're watching. That's what we're experiencing, ladies and gentlemen. And so they want us to be afraid, but we should be excited. They want us to be worried, but we should be empowered. They want us to be crying, but we should be rejoicing. The end is near. Yeah, but not your end, our end, unless you've still got your head up your end. And everybody that's putting out fake news, everybody that's putting out fear porn, everybody that's talking about, oh my God, it's so scary, it's so bad, they've still got their head up their end. They've still got their head up their end. It is fear porn. I was going to go on, but I'm not, because Cynthia will be mad at me. Corona, crown, chronos. Chronos equals corona, as we have seen, also known as son of Uranus and G. And thanks to Harry Christie for this information. The youngest Titan, the father of the Olympian gods and father of time himself. That's who you're praying to. That's what this thing's all tied up in. Knowing classical stories, one is able to see the story and see the truth, which is why there's no more classical education. That's why all of you, most of you are young. Very, very few of you have ever even heard of any of the classic stories. You don't know about the Greek pantheon. You don't know about the Roman pantheon. You don't know about the Greek tragedies. You don't know about Aristotle and Socrates. You don't know what the trivium is. You have no idea. And the reason why you don't have any idea is so you can't figure out what they're doing. That's why we don't get up here and just read from other people's books. We take you and show you and allow you to empower yourself. The word crown goes back to the root of corn or horn. And the horned one, Statue of Liberty, Moses, halos, those are light horns coming out. The crown itself, a crown. Look at this crown in this picture. It's emblematic of the sun. The corona. That's what comes off the sun, the corona. Because the king wears the crown. Moses was depicted as having horns by Michelangelo. The word corona is a symbol as well as a similar sounding word for an entity that most all religions proclaim today to be their deity. Kronos, a.k.a. Oranos, a.k.a. Uranus. Time is up. Time is up. Spikes, just like we used to draw on the sun as a kid. Time is up for the king with the crown. The deep state knows the sound of the alarm is coming quickly and their gig is up. They're trying to make us feel like the end is near for humanity, when the truth is that the end is near for them, for them, for them. And only our lack of classical education has allowed it to go on this far. That's why we're starting to teach you things about natural law. And that's why you hear me talking about Aristotle and Socrates and all the greats. We've talked about rhetoric. We've talked about didactic methods. We've talked about dialectic methodology. You don't hear that anywhere else. That's why we're important. And we have to stop the feeding frenzy. And Harry sent me this, and this is just profound. I want to pause just a minute so you guys can just get your head wrapped around what you've been listening to. And I wish that you all were in a focused life force energy environment, because it is high consciousness on demand, and it puts you in a high conscious energy field. If you go to jeffreydaughty.com, click on that fluffy logo, you can get it free for 30 days, and it allows you to just get it. It puts you in that high consciousness realm. And you know what your mama used to say, if you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. You become like who you hang around. Birds of a feather flock together. Well, if you flock with Fluffy, you end up raising your consciousness. That's all I'm saying. But check this shit out, ladies and gentlemen. You like apples? How about these apples? The goddess Media. The goddess Media. That's right. Just like Media, was the daughter of King Aeetes. He was called the Eagle King, which brings us back to Jupiter. Say hello to the new god, same as the old god. He was the son of the sun god, the double sun, Helios. And round we go, and where she stops, nobody knows. Or do we? And is that, I hate to do it, but is that Helios round and round thing, is that part of the deception, folks? We got to ask these questions. When it all ties together, you can't just say duck, 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 duck. Looks like a goose, sounds like a goose, honks like a goose, but we're going to say duck. You can't do that. Duck, 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 goose. Duck, duck, duck. You got to call a goose when you see a goose. Media is known as a sorceress, an unbalanced sorceress, and as a priest of Hecate. Do you know who Hecate is? Hecate is associated with crossroads, a.k.a. crossroad demons, entryways, a.k.a. portals, ghosts, necromancy, that is playing with dead stuff, poisonous plants, and sorcery, super imbalanced. The media What does that mean? The media is super imbalanced. The media is sorcery. The media is demonic. The media is trying to take us through a portal. The media is trying to stir up necromancy. The media is poisonous. And media was also the niece of Circe. Remember, we talked about her a couple weeks ago. She's the enchantress, sorceress, daughter of Helios again. Helios and Hecate. Heliocentric model, Hecate married. Is heliocentric model unbalanced? Is heliocentric model associated with demons, portals, dead shit? I'm just asking the questions. And you thought love made the world go round. It's Hecate, Helios. And the intimate dance between deceiver and believers continues. We're talking about media. We're talking about media, the major players, the mainstream media, the YouTube idiots, and the church. Media carries the voice through the air, empowered by the prince of the power of, to the ears of the sheep. You can't see the coded story because you don't know the classics. And no, The Simpsons ain't the classics. So they're happy to tip their hands knowing that we have no eyes to see. Stop the feeding frenzy. Media and Hermes. Who's Hermes? Hermes is the herald of the gods. What's a herald do? Announce the news. What does media do? Announce the news. Hermes is media. Media is Hermes. Hermes is also a trickster. Hermes is also a soul guide. You got to get rid of those dummies. What's the main symbol of Hermes? The caduceus. Yes, the symbol of medicine. In Rome, he was known as Mercury, meaning merchandise, where we get the word merchant, where we get the word commerce. So, Jeff, are you telling me that the media, Hermes, Medea, the media, is teaming up with medicine? Yeah. That's not what I'm telling you. That's what the facts are showing you. The God of the Bible, Rome, media, medicine. We don't have medicine anymore. We don't have health care. We got sick care. Wow. Media is working with Hermes as a trickster. Heralds using medicine and commerce infused with fear to keep us chanting on about the CV continuously. And I'm not going to say those words anymore because they must have some resonance and they must be being fed by them because words have vibration and frequency and they always carry it when spoken. Remember, crown goes back to corn, which is food / commerce, which ties into Hermes, which roots to being the horned one wearing the crown. Crown, corona, very similar to the entity that most religions call upon as deity. Priests in religion, check this out. Priests in religions can only get the masses to invoke once a week, maybe 3 times if they're hardcore, maybe those very few hardcore grandmas that go to mass every day. But this dark partnership of media and Hermes and the God of the Bible, they have the name of this fallen God being spoken of continuously. Look at the headlines. What do you see? That name. Look at the mainstream media. What do you see? That name. Look on YouTube. What do you see? That name. What do you hear? That name. We claim to be the smart ones. We claim to be the enlightened ones. We claim to be the ones that know and understand frequency and resonance. And yet we, like parrots and sheep, continue to bleed out and say the name over and over and over, feeding, empowering the feeding frenzy. From now on, it's CV. You can't put it in the chat room anymore. I'll zap it. No more My Sharona. We're going to just call it the CV. It's the last desperate effort to gain enough power to stay in control. Will it work? That depends. That depends upon what you say, and that depends upon what you listen to. That's how we know. That's how it's going to decide. Do they get to stay in control a little bit longer? Do they have enough power to pay another bill? And I just have to do this because it's fun. And Nigel dropped this one on me. Which art in heaven? Remember, it's not just what it looks like, it's how it sounds. They're homophones. That had nothing to do with sexuality. It means they sound the same. And you know, if you talk kind of loud and do this by your ears, it sounds really cool. They're homophones. Ooh, close your eyes, do it. Homophones. That's pretty cool. Which art in heaven is which art on Uranus? Or which art on Uranus? Christians, you're praying to Uranus. And if you're still a Christian, the Roman New Testament tells you you've still got your head up your ass, and they're laughing at you. You've got your head up your ass, and your ears are filled with shit. Wow. Wow. That's pretty graphic, isn't it? And it's true. It's true. That's why English was constructed the way it was. So oral transmission of words would be something else. It's a spell that's meant to take you straight to hell, of course, metaphorically speaking. So, shit for brains. Boom, that was so good. So good. Back to the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Damn, that's wild info, says Maddie G. And we're with you in your fight, Maddie. I did see that. All of our best energy to you. Etymology is very, very important, but yet not taught. You hit that one right on we'll just say right on the mark. We won't try to be funny. We won't try to. English is English. The angles are where you get the trouble. And is that the end of the chat? Boom. How about that? How about that? Well, you can't be hooked on phonics. I'll go back up here and pick up some of these that I didn't see. I've stopped saying the C word. Good for you, no despair, bear. I'm stopping now. I'm stopping now. He who controls the past controls the future. They're terrible liars, but we're even more stupid because we still believe them. We still believe them. Wow. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. They feed off fear. Absolutely. It is fear porn. They say the joke of the beast is to laugh at us. Yep. Yep. And they feed off of us through our fear and through our ignorance, ladies and gentlemen. There's no doubt about it. Corporate logos, yep, they're sigils. Did we just live through the 1,000 years of peace? But it's not really peace, Maddie, because it's an opposite world, and you may be on to that. Their peace, as Dyer says right here. Lack of knowledge creates fear. Fear is the opportunity for the elite to create the world. And I know some of you got mad at me for going after Uncle Wayne. First of all, look at where the man came from. Look at where he started. Look at some of the stuff he says. But when you make a video that is intended to do nothing but create fear and panic, somebody's got to step up and say, stop it. And I did. Just like President Trump smacked that smarmy ass little reporter today, I did the same thing. And I would do it again if I have to. So don't push me. Don't push me. Sorcha, let me talk about this. Is the media being restricted? Yes. Why? Why is the media being restricted? Because of President Donald J. Trump. It's the only reason. Who invented the term fake media? Who calls them fake media? Who every day tells them that they stink, they're lousy, and they're not trying to do anything but promote fear? And guess what? The fake media is all around us on YouTube. The fake news is all around us on YouTube. The media is being restricted. It's being restricted by President Donald J. Trump. If you want to keep the media restricted, vote for him in 2020. Whether you like him or not, because we need to keep the media restricted, because we're the alternative media, and we can grow when the mainstream media is being restricted. Interesting point. I like that. Let's see. Adrenochrome comes from the part of the mind. I don't know if that's true or not. It's probably in the blood, but I get what you're saying. I get what you say. How have I not heard of that before? Well, Matt, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. The media is the source of the lies. Absolutely. Just reading through these before I put them up. The material elites have been manipulating the market. It's fakery. The only reason the market's down is because they're trying to get rid of President Trump. That's all. That's the only reason the market is down. Stay away from the MSM. They push lies to get our energy, whether good or bad. Well, Maddie, what's the difference between the MSM and most of the people on YouTube? They're doing the same thing. Duck, duck, duck. But you want to see this because this goose is on YouTube, because this goose you've always liked, because this goop tickles your ears. You're going to call this goose a duck? I say duck you. That's a goose. And when I see a goose, I will call a goose every single time. And I know Maddie is not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm using her statement to say, if we're going to stay away from the MSM, we should also stay away from the fear porn YouTubers as well. Abso-damn-lutely. Annie says, are they sending vibes and frequencies via our electromagnetic receivers like our computers? Annie, they don't have to send vibes and frequencies via your computers. All they have to do is say those words, and you get repeated them over and over. The word we don't say anymore that rhymes with my Sharona. How many times think about it. How many times have you heard that word spoken today? Especially when you combine it with the V word, and not the good V word, the bad V word. Think about how many times you've heard that just today. And think about how many times you've heard that just today on YouTube. Are they sending vibes and frequencies? Hell yeah. But not through our computers, through our eyes, through our ears. Through our eyes, through our ears. Ooh. How about that? How about that? Don't worry about it coming through your phone. Worry about what's coming through your eyes and your ears. You are not, I'm presupposing, Annie, that you're not a tech wizard. You can't control what happens to your phone, but you can control what happens inside your dome or up in your grill, girl. Wow. 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 Oh, I like that. Mama Bear says, don't use that word unless you're ordering a beer. I like it. I like it. The Bible puts you in a deep spell and deep shit. Remember, dung? It's dung. You're in deep shit. I love it. This is really, really good stuff. It's being said millions of times a day. You can't buy that. Oh, that's really, really good stuff. Damn, that's wild info, man, he says again. Only because it is. Only because it is. I guess I read that again. She didn't say it again, but you know. You know. Oh, and in 2020, we got a chance to have perfect sight. And we got a chance to get it right. Guard your gates. Guard your anus. And your other gates, too. Amazing, amazing stuff, folks. Amazing, amazing stuff. This one might be worth rewatching. Part 1 might be worth rewatching. Ben Davis brings up a good point, and I didn't notice that until you just said it, and it is true. President Trump isn't even saying it anymore. He says the Chinese, he still says the V word, but I mean, he's making great progress. CCP instead of the other word. Don't tell me he doesn't know. Don't tell me he doesn't know, ladies and gentlemen. Don't tell me he doesn't know. You don't have original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. And they scourge him for it. They go after him for it. Absolutely. President Trump. You don't need salvation. You don't got to go on your knees to their Savior. You're divine. You're sovereign. You're free. You've got the right to life and life more abundant. And you've got the right to peace that passes all understanding. And if you're in that peace, then you don't have to worry about any fear at all. Now, folks, we are the last generation of real humans. And Mark Twain said that it's easier to fool somebody than it is to convince them they've been fooled. We got the hard job. But that doesn't mean we're going to stop doing it. We're here to get people the information they need to unindoctrinate themselves. And I need your help because together we're better. The world is not bad and getting worse. The world is good and getting better. And we're here to make damn sure it does and to show the world what it looks like when you win, and then win again, even when things are kind of thin. You know, the old saying says, when the going gets tough, that's when the badass mofos get going. That's us. That is us. I'm Jeffey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. And I might, just might, be back again tonight. Don't know, but for sure, on the morrow. Until then, you are a badass. Don't forget it.